Hi, I'm Cliff Traiman, and welcome to another episode of Meet the Gaffer. I'm here with my good friend and partner, Jon Bowden, and we are the makers of the Little Giant commercial spot.
Called Glitter.
Since the day Star Wars opened, you wanted to be a filmmaker. You were a bright kid.
Checkmate.
Artsy and inaccessible, like the films you made in college.
Ceci n'est pas un poisson.
You thought for sure you'd have a few Oscars by the time you hit 30. But times have changed.
Off the rails, take one.
Every kid with an iPhone and a Vimeo account makes movies, and the waters of quality are murky and have breached the banks. You find solace in an elite posse of artsy individuals like yourself. You sip mind-altering tinctures and have flashes of earth-changing brilliance that would bedazzle the art world if only they could be remembered in the morning.
What happened?
I don't know.
Then, one day, across the peyote dream circle, you see her. The most beautiful girl to ever give you attention. A nymph, a muse, a soon-to-be wife. And with the wife comes the kids, and a house, and a sizable amount of bills. You decide to get a real job. Something still in the industry. And as you claw your way to the middle, you tell yourself,
My internal corporate videos will be unlike all others that have come before.
you will be a risk taker. You will pay homage to the masters. You might try your hand at a musical.
Big data is dead!
But your boss is a Philistine who shoots your babies with the arrows of mediocrity. He wants things safe. Because her boss wants things safe. Because his boss wants things safe. Because his boss is a total dick. And who the hell knows what he wants?
Fuck you!
So, you lift up your chin and you carry on. And you're reminded of what you once saw written on a bathroom stall at a truck stop off I-5. You can't polish a turd, but you can roll it in glitter. And for the very first time, you contemplate the gravity and wisdom of this maxim. You appreciate the modicum of agency your job permits. You feel a warm rush of happiness swell within. You love and are loved. And you're getting paid to make movies. So, life is good. Little Giant Lighting and Grip, San Francisco, California.
You brought me a script that you had written that you called Glitter. That was a very compelling piece. Can you tell us a little bit about how you came across the idea to write this?
Well, I think I was itching to do something creative.
Yes.
We do a lot of things in Silicon Valley that are, for money, shall we say, and they don't really...
Don't rag on the client.
No, we're not ragging on the client, although the piece kind of rags on the... But, anyway, the creative nerve doesn't always get itched, so to speak. So I wanted to write something and make something, without a client, basically.
Right.
Without anybody really to answer to, and to just sort of see what we could do. And at the same time, I'm one of the partners of Little Giant Lighting and Grip, and wanted to do something to boost that company, especially on social media.
So the thing that immediately I took to, and we co-directed on the thing, was that you didn't limit yourself at all. Like when you wrote, you just wrote without money in mind.
Yeah.
And it's this great expansive thing from the beginning that took us from the suburbs through to an office space, through to a shot of cleaving a copier.
Yeah.
Something I was immediately attracted was like the lack of limitations that you used in your writing.
Right.
Could you talk about what that was in terms of the process and why you didn't just threw bend into the wind to do it that way?
Why? I don't know why. It was probably a bad idea.
Yeah.
But I was just because it's humor, and so humor is not an easy thing for me to do, or really for anybody to do. The last thing I want to do as a writer is put a pair of handcuffs on. Right. So better to just vomit it all out, sift out the best ideas and then see which ones stick. Look at those and then say, can we do it? Can we not do it? And as you know, there were many little anxiety panics that I have flipping out going, how the fuck are we going to do this?
Right.
the talking dog, okay, that's easy. You just, you interview a couple hundred dogs. Some of them are going to be able to talk.
Yeah,
right?
no, it was pretty amazing.
But
3 of them.
But cleaving because everybody, the lightsabers aren't real.
Yeah.
So cleaving that thing in half,
right.
The copy machine, that was sort of a deal.
So how was that done? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It was like one of those small miracles, actually, that it worked on the first take,
right?
As you know. So there's a super talented art guru guy named Art Walensky who has a shop down the street from Little Giant, and so I contacted him about how to cut a copy machine in half.
Right.
So the first thing I did was I went to Craigslist and I spent $20 and I bought some piece of shit broken copy machine.
Right. Yeah.
We went to Walnut Creek. We got this thing, and then we talked to Art about it. And I wanted it to be bigger than it was. First, my imagination was this thing was going to be a size like one of those really, really big ones, right?
Right.
And then we were like, no, that's not going to fly.
Right.
So we got a little one. We mounted it on a copy machine case, which we made, and it looks totally fine.
Right.
And we cut it in half. It took Art 4 hours and 5 bandsaw blades to cut through that thing.
Yeah.
And,
it's amazing how clean that cut is.
I know. I think because he had to go super slowly to not shatter it. And then mounted it on this case that we built, which had a piano hinge right in the middle. And then we just pulled it apart with monofilament. So, it was like on the count of 3, we time it with the thing, and it just whoosh, right? And then honestly, like adding those little office supply doodads inside kind of sells it in a way,
They're falling off and
and we shot it I think 3 times because for no good reason, in the film industry, if we nail it and we do a perfect take, we have to be like, let's get a safety. I don't know why, but we always do it. So we said let's get a safety, and then we said let's get another safety, and we never got it good again.
No, we didn't.
And we were finally like, okay, sun's going down, we have to move. Let's go.
That's it.
So it was actually the first take. It was kind of a miracle. And then we gave it to Clayton at Hectic Digital, Clayton Douglas, and we said, make this look great. So he added all the smoke and the
sabers
stuff.
and Let's talk a little bit about the people in it.
Right.
Which was from the very beginning was part of the idea of making this because it's really Bay Area oriented.
That was kind of the idea was to jam pack so many industry people in this and make something that they would actually be so proud of they'd want to share it and put it out there. That was kind of the marketing plan, right? Was to make it the community's piece. And so if you're paying attention, you'll pretty much notice a ton of people. Like we've got Debbie Brubaker, who's like the mama bear of independent cinema.
Right.
And we've got most of the people that work at Little Giant. Tons and tons of grip and lighting and blah blah blah.
It's kind of like the Simpsons opening a little bit.
Right, exactly. But and we also have my wife. We have my old nanny's baby. Yeah. We have we have our kids. My brother and his little girl.
Right.
It's just and my ex-wife's dog is in there.
Yeah.
Who can speak.
Yeah. Used many a time. That dog is fantastic.
That dog is fantastic.
People are out there in the world that need to rent a great dog. Sonic is fantastic.
Sonic is fantastic. Yes, we're Sonic's agent.
Our crew, this thing would have been $200,000 if we,
Well, what are the stats? Right, it was 17 locations, 47 actors.
Right.
It was insane.
It was insane. Yeah, and that was the thing that like
I've done features that have less locations and actors.
I know.
Like yours, actually.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Good point. So that was a really fun part about it too. Though was like we squeezed it in. We were able to use the talent here in the Bay Area, and everyone was incredibly generous with their time in terms of helping us out with this piece. But also the amount of time that we had to spend on it. It was 2 shoot days. We had 2 shoot days, and the rest were like filled in here and there.
Yeah.
Some of them, thanks to Rob Baggett, he was one who actually let us shoot on his set. We were filming a commercial during that time.
Did we ask him?
We asked him.
We did. Okay.
Yeah, we did. He was cool. We did it at our lunch break, and when we were down at Beyond Pix, and we shot that scene over the ties, holding up the ties. But Ocean Beach and obviously in the hotel rooms and everything like that. And so I think, how long did it take us? 3 months, 4 months, 5 months?
I mean, I feel like it was even longer.
I think it was
really
6 months.
spread out. Yeah, we have the ability to move really inefficiently and slowly when we put our mind to it.
Right. Deliberately.
Yeah.
It was very deliberate.
Yeah. Well, a lot of favors.
It was that. And also, when you're talking about there's Clayton and Marco Ramirez, who also did a lot of the...
That took a long time.
And that took a long time, man.
Yeah, when you don't pay somebody, it takes some time.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It's the downside of having zero money.
But we ended up having a piece that we're all like super proud of,
We did. We shot in front of Grand Lake Theater, and Ileana and Dooley, they got all dressed up. She looks fantastic. Dooley looks great. And in my old tuxedo, I remember that was like, he's like used my old tuxedo and put on sunglasses, and we just used, and that was the movie.
Yeah.
Right. We shot that movie in front of Grand Lake. Yeah. When weirdly enough, they were actually having a premiere that night.
They were. Yeah. We got lucky with that too, because we shot that thing.
Right.
And then I think right after we got the shot, like 1 million people showed up. And we're hanging out outside, and we wouldn't have been able to do anything.
Yeah, there was actually another film crew there, like that.
Yeah,
I think
there was another film crew that showed up because they thought we were with them.
Yeah.
That was weird.
It was lucky.
But actually, that was the shot that I was probably the most worried about, right?
Yeah.
Because it is hard to make it look like the opening of the Oscars,
right?
When you have no money and you're here,
right? Yeah.
So that was kind of lucky, And then I guess also the theater doesn't have its lights on all the time, so that was a bit of a crapshoot,
right? I also remember the Oscars, right? Because he's walking out with this like these
little... tiny little silly Oscars, because that's all we could. Now we could use Telly Awards.
That's it. Yeah, big chunk. They're chunky. They are chunky.
Yeah.
The thing that was missing, it was a bit of an empty shot. Because we didn't have any paparazzi or anything like that. And of course, we needed that.
Right.
So we went through the process of trying to figure that out with Clayton for a while.
Yeah.
And then finally just came to the determination we needed to shoot it ourselves. So once again, the elements. So went back to LG and set up another green screen.
Yeah.
And
then I just had the crew, the people that work at Little Giant. I was like, I was literally like, Jesse, come on up. Bill, come on up. Hold this old camera. Do this. Turn. In 3 minutes, we were done. We did that to like 10 people. Clayton then had this whole library to work with. So it was always the plan to fill in the negative space of that shot with green screen photographers, because it was either that or
stage a shot.
Well, also, we were stealing in front of this open movie theater, right? I figured we had about 5 minutes before somebody was going to shoot us dead. So,
no security.
But still, and as it happened, like if we had to coordinate that with all those people, we would have been doomed. Plus the I don't know, it would have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
So this was the way to do it.
You wanted to create a shot that it was as it was written, that was in a warehouse style, like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. The last scene of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Miles and miles of
Sundance
DVDs.
Submissions go on to infinity.
That's right. And just the lone person who's overburdened, doesn't give a shit.
Total
randomly picks a thing.
Yeah.
Tell us about the shot. Where do we shoot that?
So we shot that at Little Giant, in our warehouse space in the Mission, and we just emptied out a few trucks, and I had the boys build a nice little green screen. We had a lot of those props. We had the desk was, my partner's wife's desk, metal desk.
We rented. I remember we rented the computer too.
We rented a lot of older looking props, right? So anything on the desk.
The light too?
We rented the light, the old telephone.
Right.
The owner of Lost Weekend has just boxes and boxes and boxes of DVD, covers.
Right.
So we just asked him, and for free, he just gave us as many DVDs as we wanted.
Yeah.
And so
the only stipulation about getting those was that he's anti-technology. So I remember because I had to pick him up.
He had to use a telephone.
I had to call him, and he's like, "I'm going to be standing at the corner at 1:00. If that's when you have to come. If you don't come." It was funny to go back. I felt like I was in 1986 again, and being like I have to be there then. It's the only time he's going to be there. But we were able to pick up the DVD cases. He gave us 5 or 6 huge boxes of DVD cases. So we used those as props on the shot.
Yeah. So anything on the desk is real. And then we just shot, and then we did the thing with Debbie and the push in and yada yada. And the lights were real that were hanging above her. But everything else, then what we did is we just shot stacks of DVDs as elements. And then Clayton was able to manipulate those and create the warehouse shelving and just make it look like it goes on forever.
Right. Obviously, it's very difficult in terms of getting every location secure and everything like that. But the beach was just something we did not want to deal with. So
The permits we didn't.
The permits we did. So this is not recommended for everybody. Definitely if you have a lot of money, don't do this. But we did go out there and we just made a little bonfire that night and invited people through Little Giant to have a free party.
Right. Yeah. I told our GM to reach out to everybody and anybody, burners in particular, and just meet us out there on the beach, and we will supply beer and pizza and a lot of furry, cushy things and light gags and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we had people doing poi and light whips in the background, and we had the little, the peyote dream circle going on. And
we only had one super sketchy dude come up and start drinking all the... Remember that guy?
Yeah, well, so there is one guy in the movie who we don't know.
We don't know.
He just showed up and was like,
he was
hey, man.
Sketchy. He had he had the faraway death stare, like that, like looking through you and just dead behind the eyes, like a shark.
Yeah.
But he was freaking everybody out, but we continued to do the shoot until, we got the shot.
Yeah.
And
even that came together super fast.
It was great. It was great. The only, I remember I was saying I envisioned it standing up and you were like, no,
we got to shoot through the flames.
Shoot through the flames. And that was a much better shot. I think that was the way.
Well, because anybody that knows peyote dream circles is you are sitting.
You were sitting down. I was thinking
you
more
don't stand in a peyote dream circle.
I was thinking me, the frat boy, the beer party around the, standing up and whatever.
Right.
Yeah, maybe totally wrong.
Very different.
Not the burner crowd.
Very different.
Yeah, totally. One scene in particular that was super fun to get, of course, was the house in Lafayette. There's the yellow house that you'll see in the ad, and it was like we were actually driving by. We were going to do the shot originally at Cliff's brother's place, and it wasn't quite right. We looked at it, wasn't fitting, and as we're sort of driving home defeated, we came across this yellow gingerbread styled house right on the corner, and right away we're like, should we just go knock on the door? And of course we did, which I've done many times with you, by the way. Knocking on random doors.
Yeah, it won't be the last either.
No. But this kind woman opened the door, and I tried to convince her not to let us do this, and she was adamant. She was like, "Yeah, that sounds great.
You have to do it."
Yeah,
she
paid us.
No,
we're gonna have a big truck out in front. We're gonna have sprinklers going, and sounds fun. Yeah, sounds exciting.
Yeah.
We had a big jib set up on the corner from Jimmy, right?
Yeah.
We used many friends. Like we had 4 little kids there for that day. We had the whole coordination of the for sale sign and people coming in from either side. The realtor with a live baby and handing it off. And it was a super fun day to be shooting in Lafayette, and sort of everything just came together at the right time, right moment. And sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Something from the very beginning that was a really funny shot was of course that doing the big data and the best corporate video ever with the lightsabers and everything like that. But of course we had to get an office building. So Oakland, which is incredibly film friendly, and opened their doors to us, and we were able to shoot. You had done a shoot.
Yeah, I shot there a few times before for corporate things. For very stale. Just like Salesforce kind of videos.
Yeah.
And
it was a public works building?
Yeah,
right?
So that's the Department of Public Works in Oakland.
Yeah.
And so because it's a public office, one, it's not open on the weekends, and two, for a nominal fee, you can shoot there.
Yeah.
And also the guy that is their
Jim McElvaney.
Jim McElvaney, who's the head of
he's awesome.
He's fantastic, right?
Yeah.
He's like dreamy to work with.
Yeah,
he's
a can-do type of guy.
He's super accommodating.
Yeah.
And his office is literally across the street from there. So it just all fell into place. Really, the hard part was thinking of shooting there. And once we were like, oh yeah, that'll be perfect. So, it was amazing how many locations from our commercial we were able to squeak out of it.
We had the handshake scene, we had the 2 boss scenes, so we had, was that 5 scenes in total that we were able to pick off from that one location, which was like $500, and pretty.
And we had like 3 hours.
And we had 3 hours. Yeah. And of course the place comes decorated, which is also great, because there was literally like everyone's desks were just covered in crap, which is exactly what we wanted.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, Oakland's great in terms of that.
We didn't rehearse the lightsaber fight, right?
No.
So my friend Audrey, who's another producer who works with a company called The Criminals, met Jeremy for the first time. They had lightsabers, and of course there's no real swords, right? So we're like, guys, and we don't have the time to choreograph this. Usually I guess you would take a day, maybe you'd even have a stunt coordinator work some shit out. I was like, dude, you two, this got to look good. I want 3 moves, and then the big miss, step aside. You guys work that out. And quite honestly, if they didn't, we would have been fucked,
Yeah, we spent a little time. I remember spending a little time with them in terms of like the ducking aspects and all
Right.
those things, and where we needed them to end.
Okay.
It was that
Yeah.
final shot, the duck away, and then the but I mean,
But not a lot of time.
No, not a lot of time.
Not a lot of time.
They were fantastic. You know, it's always amazing to me with all these things, like when you just hand over something and be like, just try to make this work. That people, you know.
That most of the time it works,
Yeah.
and sometimes it doesn't.
And sometimes it is not. No. But it's good to have people know that who are in the industry.
Yeah, and they're smart people.
Yeah,
so
they are. So the crossbow shot was something like I played the crossbow guy, which was a fun
Quite well.
thing. Thank you. It was a fun thing to do. I always wonder who the biggest dick in this thing is. Is the crossbow guy or your guy?
No, I don't know.
'Cause you play
I think it's equal
Equal
dickitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny that we played the biggest jackasses in the entire thing. But so on that shot, it was first. We really wanted to get this thing and sell it. So Cliff painstakingly took a straw, Bobo straw, from a Bobo drink,
Yeah, the
right?
fat straws.
The fat
with
straws, and then put feathers on the outside of it to replicate a bolt, a crossbow bolt. And then Pauline Berry was able to actually get it into Jeremy. What's Jeremy's last name?
Jeremy DeForge.
DeForge.
Producer at Salesforce.
At
Producer
Salesforce,
extraordinaire.
was able to get it sort of planted onto his head, so he couldn't even move. That was the thing. I remember,
Right. That thing would stay put for like 4 seconds, and then it would just start drooping down like a.
It was.
Not going to say it.
No, it was. That was totally it. So that was the enormous challenge of the day. And then of course, was also getting this crossbow shot off. I don't know if we should say or not, but in terms of that, we actually fired the crossbow. We cleared out the place so that I could launch up. And I remember you being like, just shoot at the garbage can. And you stacked the garbage can on top of the thing.
Yeah.
I remember just launching up and
Boom.
and then shooting a garbage can, which actually it was pretty great. It worked incredibly well. And then Jeremy got stuck with the thing, and just obviously through the magic of editing, we were able to have him just fall down, get shot in the head, and fall down. And the big question was whether it would stay in while he fell back.
Right.
Which luckily it did for at least one take. And then once again, Marco sort of polished that all up and made it look fantastic in the camera.
Right. The most difficult freaking location for us to secure.
Right.
Really
That's
was
true.
that freaking toilet.
Yeah.
Like
a
no, I'm
crappy
serious.
bathroom.
It blew my absolute mind. Like we got that yellow gingerbread house. It took us 5 seconds.
Right.
I was like, what? That toilet
forever.
was such a pain in the ass.
And the other thing is, it's really hard to explain to people. Like, hey, I want to shoot in your shitter. That's all you're saying.
But
And
most,
be like,
most of the shitters, for whatever reason, didn't work.
No, they
It
weren't.
was like you couldn't. And why wouldn't they work? I don't know.
Because you know what it was? I'll tell you what it was. It was the dolly in. We wanted to dolly in, so we wanted to have that aspect. So it had to be a big enough bathroom.
Yeah,
Right? That was the thing. And so we ended up, the exterior we shot off I-5, which really was shot off I-5 when we were coming back from a job down in... That was at like 1 a.m. It was after a really long day of shooting, and I was just like, oh my God, I don't want to build the frickin' camera and put it on a little movie, but here we are. Yeah. And we just pulled over the side of the road and shot that a legitimate truck stop.
Dumped out a couple bottles of water, so we had that little skip in the foreground.
Yep. And it was a good shot. It was a great shot.
I mean, it worked.
It did. And then in the bathroom, we actually ended up, believe it or not, it was actually my son's preschool. Is in a church, and I remember using this bathroom, just randomly, while I'm there, have to go. I'm like, that bathroom has space, and I've actually rented a spot from there before. I rented their cathedral, and they were very film friendly, open to it. So I just went to them and asked them if we could shoot in the bathroom, and the charge was like $125, and we were able to pour in, and we had dry erase markers that we sort of scuffed up their bathroom with. And asked Dooley to remove his pants.
Yep.
That's how the shot happened.
Yep.
But yeah, it was super fun. And then Marco Ramirez once again, that's the whole. Do you want to talk a little bit about That's a funny thing too, in terms of where the saying came from, as far as the.
Oh yeah, I was on a job years ago shooting at Oracle. And somebody had on their desk written on a Post-it note, you can't polish a turd, but you can roll it in glitter. And I was like, well, that's pretty goddamn accurate, and that's kind of the story of my life. So anyway, I just had it in my head, and then I was writing this thing, and I'm like, wait a minute. And then because those are kind of the holy grail of words, we gave it to Marco, and I'm like, make this Lord of the Rings this shit. And so that's what he did, the whole like, shh.
The glimmer.
Yeah, the glimmer.
My precious. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think we shot most of this on the Sony A7S Mark II. And just because it is so fast to work with,
Right.
and we weren't going for that sweet, shallow depth of field look most of the time.
Right.
Did we use the F55? I think we used the F55.
I think we did just in the.
We used it as a prop.
Yeah.
To me, this wasn't about the fancy camera work per se. It was much more about like, let's get this done and make it look good. And with the exception of like the stuff on the beach and where he's in that little, LSD haze, and we use those little crystal-y things in front of the lens, which, it was like a trick I discovered, years ago and never got to use because there's never a project for it. Finally, somebody tripping balls on acid, you get to bring out the good stuff.
So that's one of my favorite things too. Like we could be at like a coffee shop and somebody you'll look at Cliff like looking at a plastic stir that like.
Right. Yeah, I'm usually tripping when that happens.
Well,
but yeah.
But you busted out these little glass beads, right?
Yeah, a string of like these crystals on a necklace, right? And you do this, and it just created that awesome, like that was that perfect effect. That really you can't think of another application for.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Other than somebody tripping.
That was a fun shoot, by the way, too. In terms of like the light. Remember that was like the last shot that we had to get. We were like talking about how we're gonna do the last shot. And,
And your idea of having him just run across, that was brilliant. That's my favorite.
Just take off his shirt. And just
and then he wakes up
yell,
in the hotel.
screaming, running through the,
And he wakes up in the hotel with a talking dog, and who doesn't relate to that?
That's exactly.
So
that's a Saturday night.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, and our approach to lighting was it was really minimal, which is typically like less is more anyway. I can't think of lighting very much.
We had a Sprinter. Did we do a 3-ton in one day? I think we did, didn't we?
No, I don't know why we would have.
Did we not?
Maybe they gave us a 3-ton because the Sprinter wasn't available, but we didn't have very many lights.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, our big day was in Oakland.
Yeah.
Right. And we had a couple Kinos.
Yeah.
And a couple Astros.
Totally.
But because it wasn't about like let's light the hell out of this. It's about let's make it look real.
Yeah. No, definitely.
And
this is a little side story, but like one of my favorite things is like we did do a short film, That's Democracy, in which we shot at the Oakland what was the theater, the school?
Yeah, the
Oakland School of the Arts, OSA. And like all the grips brought up the entire truck. Remember that? Like as far as like we loaded in literally everything, and you end up using one Astra, and because we were just using the blinds, he was controlling the light through the entire day by the Venetian blinds. And
so it was one of those deals where we had to be prepared in case what was going on outside.
And we were talking about like erecting on like a light coming in from the outside and
if we wanted to really be nutty about it. But as it happened, like the weather smacked this building across the street, and we had this massive, beautiful light source coming in, and we had Venetian blinds on two sides of the classroom, so we were able to just dial it in that way, and we didn't have to do very much.
Which I love. I love when less is more. Simple solutions. And I always talk to you like whenever you grab something that's like on the premise, it feels like a Dogma 95. You got to make do with what is there.
Right. Well, that's one of the ways that I kind of amuse myself is to keep myself interested in the game is to just say, okay, how little can I do a really great job with?
Yeah.
Right. And like if I'm in an office, the odds are I'm finding a whiteboard.
Right.
Instead of building a 6x frame or an 8x, I'll find some big rolling whiteboard and smack the light into that. Or use it as negative fill or bounce off a table or the wood and to get a little color. I don't know. It's just fun to use what's available.
Yeah.
Or crazy rigs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I enjoy it. I always I refer to it as your like Rayman hour.
My Rayman hour, yeah. Speaking to the less is more thing, we had a brilliant gaffer today, a guy named Luke Serval.
I heard of him.
Best in the business.
Yeah.
And he walked right into my place here, and he's like, well, God, there's so many amazing options to shoot here, but if we put it here, we are lit by this beautiful soft source. And what you're not seeing right behind the camera are these giant windows that are basically covered with like milk plexi. So it's this nice, super soft light that is just front lighting us.
Right. And you look gorgeous.
And you do too.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Bye. Do you want to talk about submitting it? What that was like after?
Oh, the tellies?
Yeah.
Did I tell you about that? No. Well, there's this thing called the Telly Awards, right? Which are, as I like to say, they are exactly like the Oscars, except that you apply instead of get nominated. There actually is no physical award ceremony. You pay for your award, quite handsomely, actually, and and nobody's heard of them. But other than that, they're exactly like...
You can't say no one's heard of them.
Most people haven't.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, that's why I have this spiel. I have
No,
to
I
explain
know,
what they
but
are,
like,
because they're like,
yeah.
what's a Telly Award?
Right.
But in all seriousness, so we decided, well, why not like apply submit this thing, and which we did, and it ends up winning like the gold award for quite a lot of good categories, and like it won for best humor, best writing, best branding piece, best editing,
cinematography, directing. It
got like we won like 9 awards, and I think 4 of them were the gold. But that's impressive for like best branded piece is we're up against like Mercedes, I mean we're up against some like heavy hitting ad agencies and brands, right? And they gave it to a grip and lighting house, which to me is like the ultimate joke, right? Because we're a grip and lighting house and we're tiny and who the hell are we? Yeah. So
but it was funny seeing like Samsung had a big ad up in the category and had like Russell Westbrook, showing his face, and then you see Little Giant Dooley's face. Mike Dooley plays the star of it, and just this goofy mug, next to Russell Westbrook, as the face of Little Giant. It's pretty awesome.
So I guess that goes to say that people, if the Little Giant ad spot is like anything, it's honest, right? Yeah. And so I think that's why, that's kind of why it was a home run, right? Because we were just speaking the truth.
Right. I can't say it's funny because the reaction to it. Some people are immediately, look at it and immediately say like, "Oh man, that's great. I totally get it." And I've seen the other response for like, "Man, that's really depressing."
Yeah. But it's I mean, to that end, honestly, it is my life. Right. It is my life. I came out here when I was like 23 from Philadelphia. Right. I thought for sure I'd have a few Oscars by the time I hit 30, because what the fuck do I know? But then I found a groove. I found a life that was fun. I don't feel like my career is a career. I mean, my career is a career. I don't feel like my job's a job. Right. I work with my friends and like my best friends, and I do stuff that I love doing. And quite honestly, way more often than not, I work on things I would never want to watch. Right. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I know.
And that's the only bummer. That is why I wanted to make this. I'm like, God damn it, I want to make something that I want to watch. Right. And I'm too lazy to do a feature.